Have you ever wondered if it's possible to upgrade your factory BOSE subwoofer? I'm here to say yes, you can. And it's actually easier than you think. And I'm going to walk you through the full steps front to back. Now, I'm going to do it in this case with a Nissan or Infiniti, but for your vehicle, it's done exactly the same way. Now, I admit, I do not recommend changing out the speaker with another speaker. For example, I'm going to say BOSE subwoofer with a kicker subwoofer. Okay, it doesn't work, and it's kind of like putting a weight on one leg and running, because Bose really optimizes their speakers and amplifiers to work a certain way. So that's why we're going to concentrate on changing the amplifier and the subwoofer to make sure it's compatible and you get a huge performance difference. It all starts with one of these. This is called a high-level converter, an LOC, or a line-out converter. These are very inexpensive, but work really well and will essentially make the Bose talk aftermarket with no crosstalk or problems. I'm going to recommend one to you, and I'll put it down below, that'll work on all Bose vehicles. Now, there are literally hundreds of them on Amazon or eBay or wherever, but I'm going to choose one that I accept up to 20 volts in. I'm going to say 20 volts in because B&W, for example, and some high-level amplifiers are high voltage, but some are smaller, 1 or half. Well, this unit will work with every single one of them, okay? And I'm just going to recommend this one, but you can use your own discretion if you want. All right, I'm going to pull up the wiring. As you can see here, I have wires on the connector, and I'll show it here. Now, in my case, since I'm getting it before the amplifier, I have power, ground, turn on, and then I have signal. Now the signal is the input of the sound coming from the factory radio. Now this is where it becomes fantastic, because now I can get all the connections for my high-level adapter or LOC at the amplifier. Now I'm going to caution you, I'm going to give you a little talk from the vehicle. All right, so we're going to dig deeper into this. So what's happening now is I've already taken apart all of this kind of all the trim and stuff to get at it. We're going to go back to the beginning. I'm going to show you that footage. Is the factory Bose connector, and I don't want to damage it, okay? And then also even here, this is the factory, and this is one of the wire ties that hold it on. I don't have these little prong wire ties and stuff like that, so I even go through the extent of taking it apart to make sure I don't damage that. And all the way down at the bottom is where I made the connections. So A, all the connections are behind a panel. B, I haven't compromised any of the factory wiring, and 2, my factory subwoofer can still go back inside if I decide to even remove a subwoofer, say for a trip, or I just want to do it because I'm going to sell the vehicle, or even peace of mind. A friend of mine did lighting, on the footwells of the car, lit up blue, blinked with the music. It's kind of cool. She wanted me to do some work on it, and I pulled the lighting down. I put a remote starter into it, and then I took it and put it back. And then it turned out that the person who installed that lighting didn't put a fuse in. So when I put it in Hondas, it's metal underneath there. So I sparked it. And I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. That's what fuses are for. There were no fuses. And they were connected to the ignition line of the vehicle. And the ignition line of a Honda Civic, and this is like a 2023 Honda Civic, is a huge fuse. The car was dead. I mean, dead. Okay, won't move, won't go into gear, dash doesn't light up, it's friggin' dead. If I traced it, and I found it, and there's this big fuse, like this big, and it had like 3 or 4 circuits in it. It was quite like $126 fuse blown, because someone didn't put in a 5-cent fuse and a $3 fuse holder because they were being lazy when they put the lighting in. So I use this example, guys, of why even with this, and I joked about this has power, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to run my own power, and we're going to go over that together. Hey, you just saw me talking about the power and the ground and the issues that happen, okay? Now, I just want to bring in one idea, just so you guys know. Like, this is a very simple fuse holder, okay? You put the fuse in, it opens, the fuse goes in there, and it goes out. This is what I mean by, and I'll link one of these down below. I can't believe I have to, but these are like $3, okay? When you're adding accessories to a car, this is all you need, guys, to save yourself. And I wasn't lying, and I was not kidding about having to pay $125 for a fuse in that Civic. And you know what I couldn't say? It was my fault. I made a mistake. But this because we're all human. We can make mistakes. There's also a reason why there's a fuse box in a car. So anyone who thinks you don't need fuses really has to give their head a shake. As you guys saw, I use a Swiss Army knife because it has a small 1-inch blade and I can't cut myself if I have an accident where X-Acto knives do. Now I wanted to show you that the plug I held up is in the top right hand corner, just for a reference, and then in the left hand corner you're going to see the wires are stripped back. So in this case the purple is power, the black is ground, the gray is turn on, so it turns on and off with the ignition, and then you're going to see a black wire that is stripped. You'll see a gray, red, and a bare wire. In this case, the red is my left positive, or my subwoofer positive, and the green is my subwoofer negative, or left negative. So that is my signal in, and this is where I made my connections. We're going to go here. It's where I come through on the power wire, follow it through. I have the wires taped down because I do not want to go through any of the metal because I live in Canada where we have a little bit of rain. You go down here, you're going to see my red power service loop. You come through, you see the amplifier here, all the connections. I'm going to show you along here. So now we're going along the back side. And you'll get to here. This is my high level converter, which changed everything from speaker line to RCA, which we use to convert this BOSE amplifier to talk aftermarket. Then here's my connectors with all taped back up. We go all the way through, and then we end up right here. You'll see that gray connector. That gray connector is the factory subwoofer connector, still intact, and I can even plug my factory speaker back in. The reason I didn't show you it with my sub box, but I'll show you here. This is what I did. Okay, so I chose the MTX square sub, and this is what I did for this application. Now the biggest things I want to have, I'm laying the groundwork for you to add any subwoofer you want. That is the main idea of why I'm doing it all this way, is so you can add any subwoofer you want. You want 215s, single 12, 2.8s, doesn't make a difference. The way we're doing it, the world's your oyster. So like I said, I just finished all up. You'll see where I have the wire all tied up in the top left-hand corner, and I can add any amplifier. Now that being said, if you want to see from, I'm going to call it the back of the vehicle to the front of the vehicle, I have a full wiring guide of how I did it, how I did the fuse holder, where I attached it all, and I'm going to put a link above. Now, if you want more information like this, or you got questions for me, I'm going to pin a comment in the first comment down below of where you can sign up for my free newsletter, and I will give you free of charge a PDF on how you want to install your speakers, setting your amplifier, or going from there. You'll notice the amplifier on the side, which I had facing out. I have the gain, I have the low pass, the subsonic filter, and all the adjustments on the amplifier. If you like this video and you want to go deep dive in further to setting up your amplifier, I'm going to link a video right here above.